Hi everyone, I am Princess Lian Manalo and I am your presenter for today from English 2A. Shall we now start our class?
Good day, everyone. The topic that was assigned to me was the bilingual education policies under the primary grade level. So, for the introduction, the new curriculum of DepEd, which is the K to 12 curriculum, is now embracing the mother tongue based multilingual education, also known as MTB MLE, in support to the country's bilingual education policy that is promulgated by the Department of Education, Culture and Sports, which is the achievement of competence in both Filipino and English at the national level through the teaching of both languages and their use as media of instruction at all levels. The regional languages shall be used as auxiliary languages in grades 1 and 2. The aspiration of Filipino to enable them to perform their functions and duties as Filipino citizens and in English in order to meet the needs of the country in the community of nations. In this topic, we are going to further discuss about the mother tongue-based multilingual education and how it reinforces the prior bilingual education policy we had during our 1987 Constitution. So here, we are going to discuss more how it became beneficial and important in the development of the primary levels here in our country. So, critical analysis, bilingual education in the Philippines is defined operationally as the separate use of Filipino and English as the medium of instruction in specific subject areas. So, Filipino and English are separated in terms of using the language in different subject areas. For example, Filipino is used primarily in the Filipino subject, while English is used in the science, technology, and mathematics subjects. DEX, or the Department of Education, Culture, and Sports, or the what we call now Department of Education or DepEd, issued Department Order Number 25, Section 1974, entitled Implementing Guidelines for the Policy on Bilingual Education, which talk about that Filipino should be used as the language of instruction, particularly in the subject of social studies or sciences, music, arts, physical education, home economics, practical arts, and character education. English, on the other hand, is allocated in science, mathematics, and technology subjects. So here we can see that the Filipino language and English language are used in different subjects. Later on, we are going to discuss how the implementation of mother tongue bilingual education affected these policies. In critical analysis, Article 14, Section 7 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution states that for the purpose of communication and instruction, Filipino and English are the official languages in the Philippines, Filipino being the national language and English, if it is otherwise provided by law. Regional languages shall be used as auxiliary media of instruction and as initial language for literacy for grades 1 to 2. So here, you can see that the Philippine Constitution issued that Filipino and English are the primary language to use as medium of instruction in school. And the regional languages are only option or just secondary medium for literacy to grades 1 and 2.
In support to the Article 14, Section 7 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution, the Department of Education new curriculum, which is based to the K to 12, becomes the route on embracing the mother tongue-based multilingual education or MTB-MLE. Students in the primary years, more specifically kindergarten to grade 3, are expected to be taught all subjects in their mother tongue, except for the subject English and Filipino. As for bilingual education, it will start until they reach grade 4 and so on, for the reason that the mother tongue will no longer be used in those grades and Filipino and English are the language of instructions already.
Let us now further discuss the bilingual policies issued in the primary grade levels here in the Philippines. K to 12 in the Philippines has three levels: primary school or the primary education from grades or from kinder to grade 6, junior high school or lower secondary education, grade 7 to 10, and senior high school or the upper secondary education, which is from grades 11 to 12. So what is bilingual education? Bilingual education helps students effectively connect with people of different cultures, backgrounds, increasing their ability to empathize with others and promoting emotional intelligence. So bilingual education has been very relevant in terms of we trying to empathize with others or the people around us with which has different or other cultures and backgrounds. By learning different language more than our own language here in our country or in our community, we get to connect more with people or with different people, even internationally, or even with people just around our country or other parts of the country. Maybe some of you are still wondering why Philippines is considered as a multilingual country or a bilingual country. So, Philippines is an official bilingual country since it was colonized for more than 100 years. So, if you're going to check our history, Philippines has been colonized by the Spaniards, the Americans, and even the Japanese. And even before that, Philippines has been having a relationship with different countries like in Southeast Asia and even in East Asia like China. Since we are having trading system with them, that is why Filipinos are very much equipped and knowledgeable with different languages. Philippines is a multilingual country given its archipelago, which has different ethnic languages and vernaculars. So, given our archipelago and Philippines Philippines being composed of different islands, we tend to have different languages or dialects or vernaculars because of our land formations. Our different ethnic groups had created different languages in different areas. Status of English in the Philippines is unique among countries in Southeast Asia. Aside from the small city-state of Singapore, the Philippines is the only country in the region to mandate a fully bilingual public education for all children beginning in grade school. So, Singapore and Philippines both have been teaching bilingual education in their public schools or in their school systems. So, that's why Filipinos are very much knowledgeable when in terms of using English language, both English and Filipino language, because the country has implemented such law in terms of our school systems, and it has been very beneficial for Filipinos and for overseas Filipino workers. It's been very helpful for everyone and has given much more opportunities for Filipinos as well. Philippine bilingual education. Under the official policy of 1987 Constitution of Republic of the Philippines, which are embodied in Article 14, Section 6 and 7, provided the legal basis for the various language policies that are being implemented in the country. The policy was first implemented in 1974 when DECS issued Department Order Number 25 of 1974 entitled Implementing Guidelines for the Policy on Bilingual Education. Both Filipino and English are taught as language subjects in public schools, with English being the sole language used in science, mathematics, and technology courses, Filipino and English as the medium of communication and instruction. So according here in the Department Order Number 25, 1974, this is the first law that supports the teaching of both Filipino language or using Filipino and English as medium of instruction in schools, but is separated in terms of using the language in different subjects. So English is mainly used in science, mathematics, and technology, whereas Filipino is used to the other left subjects in the primary grades or even up to the secondary level. So before the 1987 Constitution, Article 14, Section 6 and 7, there's already a law implemented with regards to it. It was just supported by the Article 14, Section 6 and 7, with regards to the bilingual education policy here in the Philippines. So the official language is different from the first language. Just like in the Philippines, there's a lot of different dialects like Pangasinan, Ilocano, Cebuano, Tagalog, and etc. But the majority language being used in Filipino, especially in communicating with other people. So here, they are wondering what is actually the first language, because first language is different with the official language, since our country has many languages or dialects or vernaculars. So the official language being used in school is quite different to the first language learned by the students. So now the question is, what should be the language of instruction we need to use when we talk about primary grades? Here they now consider what language is much more effective in terms of the literacy or the learning of the primary grade level in our education system. In 2009, DepEd Order Number 74 issued Institutionalized Mother Tongue-Based Multilingual Education or MTB-MLE nationwide and mandated the use of the learner's mother tongue in improving learning outcomes for kindergarten to grade 3, DepEd 2012. So when the K-12 curriculum was issued, the DepEd ordered a institutionalized mother tongue-based multilingual education. So what is mother tongue-based multilingual education? It is a policy in the Philippines involves implementation of local mother tongues as the language of instruction in kindergarten to year 3 or grade 3, with the official languages Filipino and English being introduced as the language of instruction after grade 3. Here, they don't consider dialects or the area language just as an auxiliary medium of instruction in the school, but they give focus more on the use of mother language or mother tongue language in the primary level or from kinder to grade 3, along with the usage of Filipino and English as the primary language used in teaching in schools. Why is MTB-MLE implemented in the Philippines? According to this interview of teachers from different regions in the Philippines using their regional languages, the biggest benefit of MTB-MLE is that learners increase their understanding of classroom content, increased comprehension, that in mother tongue, they can learn all the words and they can understand. What is the purpose of mother tongue-based multilingual education? The purpose of multilingual education program is to develop appropriate cognitive and reasoning skills, enabling children to operate equally in different languages, starting with the first language of the child. According to teachers who have been part of the regionalized or using regional language, except those that are mainly using the Tagalog or our main language, it became very beneficial for the students since they are more familiarized with their regional language or their dialect. And when they go to school, they tend to understand more or comprehend more, since the language or the medium of instruction is more relatable to them, since it was their first language. And the learning of the students are expected to increase more than before. Teaching Filipino and English is kind of harder for regional students or students who are used to using regional languages. That is why MTB-MLE is very effective and it has been very helpful in our curriculum. Is mother tongue based multilingual education an effective way of teaching? Research has increasingly shown that teaching in a mother tongue early in school helps reduce dropout rates and makes education more engaging for marginalized groups. Children who benefit from mother tongue based multilingual education also perform better in their second language. So, according here, research has shown that the implementation of the MTBMLE changed or improved the learning of the students, especially those who are part of the marginalized group. Before, I have asked my Filipino teacher because I was kind of not interested when it comes to translating the words to their actual languages, or like in math or in science in grade 3 they used Filipino instead of using the actual language, which is the English before, because according to the DepEd order before, the main language used in science, technology, and mathematics is mainly the English language, and Filipino on the other subjects. So he explained to me that maybe because other students are not very much familiar with English, that is why it's better for them to use their mother tongue or Filipino language instead of English, and in order for them to understand the lesson more, be more engaged to the lesson, and the lesson to be more relatable, since it is the goal of the K-12 curriculum that students get to be engaged more to the lessons or to the topics. The implementation of mother tongue reflects or represents the goals of the curriculum itself. According to UNESCO, providing education in child's mother tongue is indeed a critical issue, but research both here and abroad proves the positive outcomes of bilingual education programs. In the United States, a major research finding is that students in bilingual programs outperform their monolingual counterparts in metalinguistic awareness, concepts formation tasks, and analogical reasoning ability. Students in bilingual programs also outperform their peers in standardized achievement tests in either language. In 1984, the Linguistic Society of the Philippines, or LSP, conducted an evaluation of the bilingual education program, then on its 10th year of implementation. The findings showed that those students performed well in achievement tests, and teachers and school administrators saw the need for bilingual education. There was a dearth in materials in Filipino and a lack of pre-service and in-service training for teachers in Filipino. The study emphasized the need for a regular evaluation of the nation's bilingual education program. The said study also significantly stressed the role of the mother tongue in bilingual or multilingual education. In some parts of multilingual Philippines, the mother tongue might be neither English nor Filipino. So here, in 1984, so the first rule that supports the bilingual education here in the Philippines, which was issued in 1974. In 1984, they conducted a research, or what are the results of the implementation of the bilingual education policy here in the Philippines. The teachers have adjusted in teaching the English language. There are still a lot of pre-service or in-service teachers who are less equipped in using the Filipino language. So that's one of what they're lacking, perhaps. The use of child's mother tongue in developing his basic 3 functional literacy skills enables him to transfer these skills to a second language or even a third. The Department of Education issued Executive Order Number 210, declaring English to be the medium of instruction as second language starting at grade 1, then a primary language of instruction from grade 3 until the secondary levels.
Here we have a diagram of the MTBML curriculum framework. So outside the framework, we have the political, sociological factors, cultural factors that influence the MTBMLE. as a whole. Then we have the secondary languages, which are the Filipino and English. So the focus of mother tongue based curriculum is to apply mother tongue as a language of learning or medium of instruction. So here in primary level, there is a mother tongue as a subject which develops the listening, speaking, reading, writing, and viewing skills of the students, as well as their critical thinking, oral competence, and confidence. So in mother tongue as a subject, they also discusses how to form sentences and 8 parts of speech, but the difference is it is in their mother tongue original language form, but it develops the reading and writing skills because it's the basic learnings of a student, especially on the primary level. Then we have mother tongue as a language of learning. So instead of using Filipino and English, they use mother tongue as the medium of instruction in order for students to, or the younger students to improve or learn the lessons better and more familiar and relatable for them. So the goal of mother tongue as a medium of instruction is to improve or develop more or better the language comprehension, reading comprehension, practical and creative writing competence, and critical language use. So there are different factors that affects or that influences the mother tongue base as a strong foundation. So next is the grade level standard. So the reason why mother tongue based curriculum is only implemented on the primary level from kinder to grade 3 because they are the most in need for that. The learner in kinder demonstrates skill strategies, phonemic awareness, alphabet knowledge, sound letter correspondences. So basically, from kinder to grade 1, students are mostly trying to learn how to read and write, and being more familiar with the language being used, it would be very much easier for them to learn how to read, to learn how to write, instead of using Filipino and language, which are languages that are not very common for them. And for grade 2 and grade 3, that's when they were starting to discover other skills or other learnings and information. They start to study science, start to study math. And if the words being used on their curriculum or on their lessons are something that they can easily remember, the learning would be more efficient if the medium of instruction is something that is common for them. So for a brief discussion of the conclusion or the written conclusion, the goal of the implementation of mother tongue as medium of instruction in the primary level is to break the stigma that those who are using their native language are less of a person or creates less of a self-worth. So the government or the Department of Education wants to improve the confidence of the students by only using their native language or their regional language, since it's the most effective language to use for them to learn better. And in order for them to faster develop their language skills, which is to read, to write, to listen, and to speak, we have to use the mother tongue or the native language for a more efficient and more effective learning of the students. For the activity, cite a scenario wherein the use of bilingual education has been relevant for you during your primary level or grade, or even up to now. I hope you have learned something. Thank you for listening.